Hello, this is the Orthodox Experience with Father Michael Lilly. Today's video is going to be all about mixed marriages, and in particular, how those who are living in a mixed marriage can live in harmony without compromising your Orthodox faith. Stay tuned. So often I encounter people who are Orthodox and married to someone who is of another faith, and they have difficulties living out their life to the fullest. So we're going to do a video specifically addressing that concern. But first and foremost, we have to bring up the fact that it is not the best to marry outside of an Orthodox a spouse of outside the Orthodox Church. The Church has strict canon law that says that an Orthodox believer must marry another Orthodox believer. However, we have made exceptions to that rule from time to time, where if the potential spouse is a heterodox Christian who believes in the Trinity, then we can bless that marriage inside the Orthodox Church. Of course, those who are non-Christian belief or atheistic in any way would not be able to get this exception, this blessing. So before you even get to the point where you're married, it'd be best that when you approach dating, you should approach it where you understand that you should primarily be looking for a spouse that is Orthodox, who is Orthodox. I highly recommend Father Josiah Trenum's recent video, who I'm recommending here up in the link, about how to approach Orthodox dating. Nevertheless, you find yourself married, whether it is because you fell in love with somebody who was not Orthodox and you felt like you can continue on to finalize that love in matrimony, and the Church has blessed it, or if you are a convert to the faith and your spouse is not coming along with you, they still have another belief. For whatever reason, you found yourself in this position where you're married to somebody who is not of the same faith. I know from my own pastoral experience that it can be a difficult situation, that it can bring a lot of tension into a marriage. But as an Orthodox Christian, if you're going to marry somebody and have married somebody, first and foremost, you have to be able to have an open communication with them. And first and foremost among it is about children. How are you going to raise your children? The Orthodox Church, if they blessed your marriage to a non-Orthodox, then you'd have to have them agree to have the children baptized and raised in the Orthodox Church. Though that can bring problems as well. If one parent has a strong belief and another doesn't, sends mixed messages to those children as they get older. And I have seen it where the children have fallen away from the Church because they see that it's not important for one spouse, one father or mother. It wasn't something that bound them together, so it wasn't something that they needed to be bound to either. So first and foremost is to have open communication about your faith, about how you feel about the Church, and that you would like to raise the children in the Orthodox faith, having them baptized and reared and receive the mysteries in the Church. You have to have open communication. Secondly, you have to be patient. Oftentimes, I know especially those who maybe convert to the Church and they want their spouse to follow, you have to be patient. You have to be patient with them and love them. You have to be patient with them. You have to pray for them. At all times, pray for them. That maybe that God will open their heart to see the beauty of the Church that you have found. And also, thirdly, you have to live your faith to the fullest. Your spouse will see how dedicated you are. The spouse will see the person that you are becoming and choosing to become, how you are drawing closer to Christ, and the grace that has been given to you through the sacraments. If you can live out your faith to the fullest, this is the most convincing way to your spouse that they too should investigate the Orthodox Church and come in and come maybe to that faith, to that belief. So first we have to have open communication, you have to have love, and you have to live out your faith to the fullest. And then the last part, and this is the most hardest part, and it's kind of contradictory to living out your faith, but there's gonna be times that you're gonna have to give in. You're gonna have to, for your spouse's sake, you're gonna have to give in. You're always gonna have to have a compromise. So compromise on the small things, never compromise on the big things. And I want to point out that a little bit of scripture in the first book of Corinthians, chapter 7. It's often known as the Pauline privilege. In fact, the Roman Catholic Church uses this verse to point towards an exception to marriage. That's what Pauline privilege means, so that they can have a divorce. So if there was two spouses, a married couple, man and wife, that's all we believe in, who one came to the knowledge of faith in the church and the other didn't, that would be okay and under this circumstance that you divorce that spouse. But that's not the true text. That's not the true full meaning of this text. Paul goes on to write further in verse 12, and I'm reading here from the Orthodox Study Bible, New King James Version. But to the rest I, not the Lord, say, if any brother has a wife who does not believe, and she is willing to live with him, let him not divorce her. Any woman who has a husband who does not believe, if he is willing to live with her, let her not divorce him. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. Otherwise your children would be unclean, but now they are holy. But if the unbeliever departs, let him depart. A brother or sister is not under bondage in such cases, but God has called us to peace. For how do you know, O wife, whether you will save your husband? Or how would you know, O husband, whether you will save your wife? So Paul is giving a pastoral exception maybe for marriages to maybe not continue on. But he's also urging that if the spouse is okay with you being an Orthodox Christian, maybe they don't believe, maybe they don't feel the way you do, that you should remain married, and that the one who is a believing Orthodox Christian, that they will sanctify the spouse, that by the grace of God, by your prayers, by your presence in the church, the spouse and the children that are blessed from that marriage will be holy, will be sanctified, and they will, not that he's guaranteeing any salvation, but that there will be peace in that household. So let us take heart, brothers and sisters, if you find yourself in what we call a mixed marriage. We all know that it's not the most ideal situation. We should try to avoid it if possible. But if we find ourselves in that scenario, be patient, be loving, be kind, as Paul says, and let your prayers and your holiness sanctify your spouse. God bless you.